Welcome back. Something big just happened. Today's story is truly shocking. It's shaking up the world of social media and online drama. What happened here isn't just unexpected. It could change everything moving forward. Because every action has a reaction, and that reaction is coming. So what do you think? Is this just the beginning? And what do you expect to happen next?
Alright, so pause, and I'm just gonna make this video and I'm just gonna call it a day. I really dislike Olandria and Chelley because the simple fact that they on this girl podcast, and Keke Palma, I was like you, but now I don't even like you no more. That y'all sitting here scared to answer questions because y'all scared to have backlash, or y'all scared y'all be having these PR answers. Girl, she brought y'all on this podcast to speak your truth. Nothing is filtered. Like, say what you gotta say. Then y'all talk about something they don't want to get bullied. They gonna get bullied regardless. Regardless. Keke Palma said out her own mouth, she was like, get your own man heart rate up. She did. And she got her man heart rate up. Correct me if I'm wrong. The heart rate challenge was before the note challenge, right? Okay, cool. So, Chelley, if Ace your man and Chris is with Huda and you have no feelings towards Chris, Olandria, why was it a problem when Chris was kissing Huda? Why did you have to bring that up? And then on Keke Palma, one of her questions was on the note challenge, do you think that Huda was like justified or something like that? And then Chelley was like, that her apology was reasonable, but it was just the but part. Girl, what? And I'm trying to figure out what made Olandria feel like she even had to say anything about Huda, Chris anyway. Like, girl, that wasn't even your business. And then for one, why Keke Palma didn't bring that shit up?
Keke Palma disappointed me because why were you talking over Chelley and Olandria like basically the entire interview? Also, why are you guys interviewing if you haven't watched the show when, as people who watch the show, we're looking for answers to stuff that happened on the show? And when you're asked, you're saying, oh, I haven't watched it. Then stop interviewing. Lastly, people are gonna hate y'all regardless. The people that already don't like you, Chelley and Olandria, and whoever else is doing an interview, they're already not gonna like you. So you might as well go into these interviews and actually be yourself and be honest and just say what it is.
Wish they filmed this after the Call Her Daddy interview, but it's fine. I listened to this podcast episode, so you don't have to. Let's go through it. First of all, I love Keke Palma. I think she's so entertaining. I think she's one of the best things we have in Hollywood right now. Not even Black Hollywood in general. But I do feel like the questions were kind of all over the place. And I think that impacted the interview. I also feel like because of the Call Her Daddy interview, they maybe should have done separate interviews. Maybe it should have been Chelley and Ace and Nic and Olandria, and then we could have got a bit more precise tea. I think at the time of this interview, things had started to sour between Olandria and Huda. Like, obviously, the Call Her Daddy interview hadn't come out, but things had started to sour because there were some discrete bits of body language that Olandria would give. Like, there were questions of, like, who had the most generous, like, kindest edit out of all of the islanders, and Olandria is kind of just like, Chelley, you take it away. And I feel like because of that energy, it was, I don't know, it felt like it was Huda. Maybe that's just me projecting. They both looked so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. But I do feel like a lot of questions were aimed towards Chelley, maybe because of the heart rate challenge, the fact that they got voted out prematurely, etc, etc. Chelley was incredibly gracious. They both were. And I think the entire interview was a sort of like a masterclass or a lesson in sociology, intersexual feminism, and the fact that, like, Black women can't crash out. They can't crash out on an interview. They can't talk out of, like, turn without being labeled as aggressive, negative, etc, etc. And I think that's why people found the interview boring, because they felt like they had to take, like, the higher ground. Like, when they go low, you go high type thing. There was definitely no new tea spilled. Like, we didn't really learn anything new, aside from the fact that, you know, the standing on business challenge was incredibly long, like 7-8 hours, but Adriana, basically told us that anyway. We also learned that they weren't getting much sleep, so the thing that Chris said was actually true. They were getting like 2 to 3 hours sleep every single night. Olandria and Chelley also said in the interview that they were basically like the therapists or like the go-to problem people in the villa, where, like, if people had an issue, they would go to Chelley and Olandria, and if you asked people in the villa, like, who their most, like, trusted people were, it would be Chelley and Olandria, and they were shocked when all of the, like, negativity was coming out after the villa. I think when you look at the Call Her Daddy interview and the interview with Keke Palma, you can clearly see the difference between when a non-black, non-dark-skinned person of colour is able to just, you know, be quite violent with their language, be quite loud, you know, throw shade. When Alex Cooper had asked asked Huda who's the most disingenuous person in the villa, Huda openly, freely said it's Cierra. However, when Keke asked a very similar question on her podcast, neither Chelley or Olandria wanted to answer the question. Chelley was able to ask another Islander, and she asked Ace, and Ace basically avoided the question as well. And I think there's this thing of like this politeness that Black people sometimes have to take on when it comes to these type of situations, and it's really, really sad. I'm really hoping that the reunion will give us something to chew on. Andy Cohen, really please, I need you to open that mouth and ask the questions, and I need you to roll the tapes like Leah wanted last year. Do it this year.
Okay, so I just listened to the Keke Palmer podcast with Olandria and Chelley, and here are some of my thoughts. I do not think Keke Palmer like Nic Olandria. And I'm not saying that she hates them, but I don't really think she likes them too much. Like, I don't think she feel like Nick has what it takes to keep Olandria. Like, Keke Palmer definitely gave like, we gotta make her a Nic Olandria believer for sure. Chelley definitely vibed with Keke Palmer, and I feel like they're both Virgos, so they was just feeding off each other energy. Olandria was just happy to be there. Like, my girl is really, she's really loved, but she's definitely a shy girl when it comes to these interviews. I feel like if this was filmed this week, it would be totally different. The interview was what it was. I'm not really mad about it. I just feel like we kept hearing about Taylor. Like, it was like Taylor. And I wanted it to be more about Nic Olandria. But then again, I think Keke was trying to get Olandria's side of how she felt because of how it was portrayed on the show. But like, I felt like I heard Taylor more than I heard Nick, which is crazy to me because they are like the topic of discussion. Like, Nic Olandria is like one of the top couples being talked about right now. All in all, I can't wait to actually like visually see the interview because I only listened to it, so I only could assume like what their facial expressions were. But I hope that I can see smiles and giggles when certain people's names get mentioned. The interview was cute, but I wanted more so bad. But I am happy that they like talked about the microaggressions with the Black women in the villa, and they tapped into like how they felt about being perceived in the media as mean girls and everything like that. I'm happy that their voices are being heard, especially from a Black interviewer. I think that is very important because Keke Palmer understands how it feels to be Black in America. Like, she knows how it feels, especially to be a Black woman in the limelight. So I'm just happy that they talked about that and were able to like touch and agree. And I hope more Black interviewers get to talk to Chelley and Olandria, just because there's nothing like talking to somebody that understands where you're coming from as opposed to someone that doesn't understand it at all. So yeah, I'm happy for my girls, and I hope that they continue to shine their light onto this world and just take it over. And I can't wait to see where these two women end up in the next year. Ciao.
Okay, so I just finished the Olandria interview with Keke Palmer, and I have notes. If you haven't seen it yet, please keep scrolling. First things first, I absolutely adore Keke, so I may be a little biased because I literally just love that girl. And I love Chelley and Olandria. But honestly, I'm gonna bring my biases aside for a second. I will say overall it was a good interview. However, I honestly wish Keke would have let the girls speak more. That was like one thing that really was bothering me the entire time. Like, I know as fans, and you know, Keke is a celebrity, but she was clearly a fan of the show as well. And as fans, like, we have our thoughts and think pieces and all the things. And I feel like in a lot of it, she was giving her opinions, which I completely understand. It's her show. It's her podcast. But I just wish she would have genuinely let the girl speak more, because there was times where even like when they talked about the heart rate challenge, she gave her opinion and she didn't even really let Chelley and Olandria touch on it too much. And then she moved on to the next thing. And she said all good things. Like, she was very spot on with like her breakdown or opinions. Like, I honestly agreed with everything Keke said, but I just really wanted to hear Chelley and Olandria more. Like, that's what we're here for. You know, we want to see what they have to say about these situations, especially because they were in it. So that was a little frustrating for me, I won't lie. And I just truly wish she would have like even if she like gives her full opinion, I wish she would have actually just gave like more time and space for them to like answer the question, like not move on so quickly. I also think Chelley is such a sweet, genuine girl. Like, just hearing everything she had to say about her perspective in the villa, like, you can tell she genuinely was so sweet and you can tell she like really had a very good perspective of everything. Like, I think she thinks everyone else was so genuine and like, you know, everyone was there for the right reasons because she's operating from a space of who she is and how she thought, which sadly, I'm sure she sees more now. That's not the case, unfortunately. So I really, really also wish that we got to see her opinions and thoughts post interviews, if you know what I mean. Especially Huda's Call Her Daddy interview. I just feel like there's so much that we're missing now. Like, it's a little out of date, like outdated, that is. Like, you know, they told us the interview was going to happen July 22nd, but they dropped it like a whole week before. Like, they said that it was coming a whole week before, and there's so much that's happened since. So I don't know, that was also a little frustrating for me. Olandria, honestly, I feel like she didn't hold back. Like, I feel like this was like very much like her authentic self. Like, I feel like she gave real answers. You can tell they're both still a little scared to say too much. You can tell, understandably so. The way they've been smeared online has been ridiculous. The amount of racism and hate has been unreal. One thing that was definitely confirmed for me is my reasoning and why I think they unfollowed Huda. I know there's been a lot of controversy around that. They're like, oh, they never liked her. I don't think that's the case at all. From their interview, you can tell they thought that like everyone was on the same page about things. They even said after the heart rate challenge, they all had a group discussion and everyone was like, you know what? Everyone kept it real. Like, they felt like everyone was on the same page about it. So I think to hear Huda go on the Call Her Daddy podcast and literally act like everyone was like against her, she had no friends, and that like she was so bullied, and just run with the narrative that America had, was insulting for them. Like, I literally said that in my previous video. I felt like, you know, if it were me, like, that would feel like such a slap in the face, especially because she said, like, you know, she was someone that the girls constantly went to for advice, and was someone that, you know, people would debrief with a lot. And, you know, even in Chelley's exit interview, Huda herself said, like, oh, you know, you were like a sister to me. You were there for me so much in the villa, like from the beginning. But then to go on a podcast and say you had no one and like everyone bullied you and all the things is ridiculous. And again, even with the heart rate challenge, you know, they both said she was very apologetic after. She was very regretful. She acknowledged she did too much, which we've seen on the show. But then to go back and act like everyone else was overreacting and like was overly critical of you is ridiculous. So I don't know. I enjoyed the interview, but I just don't feel fed. And that really sucks because I was really hoping for more from this. I really wish Keke would have let them speak more. But overall, I love all of those girls. And yeah, I'm somewhat satisfied. Love them down. Like, those are my girls forever. So
if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.